Marcus Smart's shot last night. If on a scale of 1 to 10, if I was one of his teammates, I would be probably like a 6 on the frustrated scale. And that would be after some like contemplation. I think at first I would be like a 9. I would be like, really, that's the best shot that we could get? Like, because at first glance, you look at that shot and you're like, that was terrible. Like, what was he doing? It was like a step back contested three. You know, he never really looked to pass. So it was it was kind of a really just kind of a frustrating moment there. But then when you step back a little bit and you kind of take a look at the tape and you realize that, okay, he could have thrown it to Rozier, but he couldn't have thrown it to Rozier for as long as everybody kind of thought, because Jordan Clarkson was kind of hanging out there, you know, looking to make a defensive play there. Kyrie looked like he had kind of a play in mind. Stevens talked after the game about, you know, they had a play set up, you know, for that last moment. And you could kind of see Kyrie go to that corner and then sort of run up along the three-point line like he was going to try to come off something for, you know, to get himself a better look. And that just didn't materialize fast enough. And I think once you look at the tape, you can kind of see all that stuff happening. So I think I would give it a 6, because after some reflection, you'd be like, okay, I still think that was a pretty bad shot. I think he probably should have given it up to Rozier right away. But after he didn't make that initial pass, his options were pretty limited. So that would be about where I would be with it. How about you?
Yeah, I thought, one, it was just about not as bad a shot as the Celtics could have gotten under the circumstances, but considering the shooter, Marcus Smart, who's been dreadful from inside and outside the arc for his entire career, a step back from him is just a bad, bad shot. When you could have had it in Terry Rozier's hands, who'd been hot and made a couple buckets at the end, or Kyrie Irving's hands, who lives hot and has lived hot for his entire life, it's definitely a huge disappointment. Or Jason Tatum or whoever else could have gotten the ball would have been a better option to create that look. Smart, for what he got, it was a pretty clean look. Like, he got a decent shot out of it. He created separation. He almost made it. I thought the one guy who might have been open was Jason Tatum on the weak side. Like, I thought there was a window where Smart could have passed to him, but I also see why Smart never saw that, because that play with Kyrie was taking, like you said, way too long to materialize. That was never gonna work. And Smart decided, I'm going to try to go to the basket, got cut off, and then at that point, it's like he only had 2 seconds or 1 second, and if he reversed court, then there wasn't really much time for a pass and shot from one of the other guys. So I understand it's totally defensible. The real issue was they were down 6 with 20 seconds left. They didn't have any timeouts left. They had to go the length of the court, and at that point, like, running a real play and running a set and being organized isn't totally thrown out the window, because obviously they prepare for those situations, but it's just chaos. And when things get chaotic, Marcus Smart tends to try to do things himself. And I wouldn't have been too frustrated with him if I was his teammate. I would have understood. If I were Kyrie, I probably would have been more frustrated with the coaching staff for having me try to run a play that never had the time to run, to be honest. Yeah. And then you move on and you learn from it and whatever. Like, they didn't really deserve that game. So it was the basketball gods.
Yeah. You were there last night. How did Kyrie seem? Because I saw the answer that he gave on the Smart shot. You know, did he seem okay with it? He kind of sounded like he was in the video.
It was hard to tell whether he was sticking up for Smart and being like, it was a tough time, tough decision, anybody was going to take a tough shot, or whether he was like, yeah, we have to live with that one. So I couldn't tell. I think deep down he was a little salty. He didn't at least get a touch, but he didn't openly convey anything like that. So good on him, I guess, for not totally sharing his frustration. He may have thrown a tiny bit of shade, but it was vague enough shade that you might have missed it, or it might not have even been there. So I think he was all right with it, or like he wasn't too mad about it, at least.